As the state election approaches, the political parties are polishing their policies to put to the electorate on November the 27th. Tonight, Stateline's first debate of the campaign is law and order. In a moment, the two members of Parliament who would be Deputy Premier if their party wins government next month go head-to-head. But first, the ABC's police reporter Lisa Maksimovic looks at the issues.
It's these images. Their stories.
Lukey was always there for all of us. He was a boy with needs and wants and needed protection.
And headlines like this.
Another racist attack.
That have warped Victoria's views on crime and community safety.
I think people are deeply troubled by the instances of violence in public places, and there's no doubt about that. And any government, no matter what Guernsey they wear, can stand up and say we've got the best education, transport, road systems in the world, and all of that means nothing if your 18-year-old son gets beaten to death in King Street the night of his party.
A series of attacks on Indian students, brutal and unprovoked city assaults, and a growing culture of knife violence has made policing and crime a key election issue. The ALP and Coalition are throwing some heavy punches to win critical law and order votes. From the Brumby corner, new stop and search powers for police to target weapons, education campaigns on knife crime, and blows from the Baillieu corner, GPS tracking for home detention, a promise of 1,600 additional police over the next term, and then came the government's almost identical announcements. The Police Association says with such attention on policing, the community will be the winner.
I think there's no doubt law and order has assumed a more prominent role than it has in previous state elections for a number of reasons, including the alcohol and drug-fuelled violence that we've seen on Victoria's streets, the road toll, which has risen since last year.
The degree of seriousness in crime has been obvious for at least the last 10 years. Yes, it has been a little bit late in forthcoming, the response from the government, but at least it is coming now, maybe spurred by the election.
Psychologist Dominic Greco works with victims of crime. He says the number of clients with injuries from unprovoked attacks is on the rise, and he believes more needs to be done to deter offenders.
Well, I think every victim would agree that penalties aren't tough enough. Unfortunately, we see too many times where a serious crime has been committed, such as serious physical assault, where someone might have sustained some serious injuries or lacerations, and then the offender is given a suspended sentence.
On that point, the politicians have listened. The opposition called for an end to suspended sentences. And in the last week of Parliament, a bill was passed to abolish suspended jail terms for serious crimes, including murder, rape and armed robbery. And roaring into the election spotlight this week are bikies. Ted Baillieu has criticised the government for being soft on outlaw motorcycle gangs. The government maintains its laws are the toughest in the country and, if it wins power, will bring about anti-fortification legislation which would give police power to knock down barricades around bikie compounds.
They fortify the compounds for good reason. They don't wish to have the authorities understand what they're getting up to behind their locked doors and their barricades, and that should be stopped and prevented wherever possible.
Anti-fortification laws are really a useful tool for us to disrupt people who traffic in predominantly women, people who traffic in drugs, because if they want to distribute or hold those people, they have to fortify those premises. So it's not just about bikie groups, it's about anyone who wants to fortify their premises to allow them to commit crime.